All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and continue with our Module 1 notes. Please make sure that, as always, you put your name in the upper right-hand corner. If you have a student number, go ahead and put that there also. You can always include the date as well. Okay. As mentioned previously, these are Module 1 notes. We're still in Module 1, still fairly early in the year's math. This is going to be Module 1, Lesson 5. Reading, and writing numbers. Now that may seem a little silly. You guys have been reading and writing numbers for many years at this point. But the numbers are going to get a little bigger in 5th grade. They are going to get a little longer. So it's worth reviewing this, making sure we're all using the same vocabulary. Okay. Since this is Lesson 5, we'll use a Roman numeral 5. It's going to look like a V. That's Roman numeral 5. And then we'll drop down to subheading A. Subheading A. We'll do our vocabulary. We have 3 vocabulary words we're going to go through today. Again, they may be familiar, but I want to make sure that we're using them the same way. Number 1 is digits. Digits. These are the individual or single symbols. The individual single symbols used to show a number. Now, we don't use Roman numerals very often anymore. The kinds of numbers we use are made up of some combination of the following digits. 0. Just want to make sure it doesn't look like an O. It's not a letter O, it's a 0. So I put the line through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Again, every single number that we make will be made using those digits. There's some kooky stuff that comes up when you get a little older, but for the most part, that's what we use. Those are the symbols we use. Okay. Number 2. Value. Value. Now the digits, right here, the symbol, this can be used, again, in different places, and that affects how much it is worth. Let me give you the definition, then we'll go more into the detail of that. The value of something, the value of the digit, that's what a digit represents. What a digit represents, which I'm going to put in parentheses, basically what its, IT apostrophe S, because it's a contraction, what its worth. What is the digit worth? Okay. And this is determined, so let's say what a digit represents, what it's worth, which is determined by the digit's place. There we go, by the digit's place. Okay. Now what that means, if I have, let's look at a 3. If I have just 3, then that's its value. It's 3 ones. Okay. But if I have a 3 that's a few places over on the place value chart in the hundreds column, now I've got 300. The value is much different. Maybe a more concrete way to think about it is money. If I have 3 $1 bills and you have 3 $100 bills, we both have the same number of bills, but your 300s are worth a lot more than my 3 ones. So even though we both have the same digit to show our number of bills, the value is different because of the type of bill you have. In a number, place will determine value. Okay, moving on. Number 3, period. Now this is not going to be like the period at the end of a sentence. This is more like the period in a hockey game, or think about going to school and having different class periods. You are going to be breaking something into groups. A period is a group of 3 digits. A group of 3 digits on a place value chart. So every 3 digits that are grouped together on a place value chart make a period. Okay. And there is a pattern to the way that these periods are set up. Every period includes a hundreds place, a hundreds column, let me say that, a tens column, and ones. And I'll squeeze the word column in at the end. I didn't leave myself quite enough room, but that's okay. Alright? Every period is made of ones, tens, hundreds. When we think about our regular number, right, the numbers you started with when you were younger, you started with ones. The next place value was tens. And then you went to hundreds. Now you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, the next place value is thousands. And you're correct. Technically it's 1,000s, followed by 10,000s, followed by 100,000s. And then we start again with 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, and it just repeats over and over again. Okay. So we have an H, we have a T, we have an O. Again, I'm going to put lines through these just to make sure it's clear they're zeros. Ones, tens, hundreds. It repeats. Okay. Now, let's take a look. We discussed some vocabulary, the words we need to talk about these things. Let's move on and take a look at some procedures for how we're going to read them. Procedure. It helps if I spell the word correctly, though. Procedures. There we are. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Procedures. It helps to know how we're going to write these and how we're going to read these. Okay. Now, first off, we had subheading 1, 2, 3 under vocab. Now we're going to have 1, 2, 3 under procedures. First is standard form. Every once in a while you might see this referred to as unit form. This is basically the way that you were taught to write numbers when you were young. This is the way we write numbers most often, most frequently. Now I'm not going to read this number yet, at least not properly, because that will come up later. We'll talk about at the very end, make sure we're reading them properly. 3692154, which hopefully you recognize doesn't sound right. Okay. But just writing it, you can see we've got a group of 3 numbers, then a comma. That's because we had a period. Then the comma separates the next period, the next group of 3. This comma separates the next period. We don't have 3 digits here, which can be a little confusing. But that's just because there's no 10 million or 100 million value. You always start from this side and go back. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, to make sure you don't fall into that trap. All right, so that's standard form. Again, most of you, I think, are probably pretty familiar with that. The next one is expanded form. Now, the word expanded means stretched out. Okay, expanded means we are going to make it bigger. Expanded form, let's slide this up just a little bit. There we go. Expanded form is based on value. Based on value. Now, what does that mean? It means that when we write the number, we're going to stretch this thing out. We're going to focus on what value each digit has. So, for example, this 3 is not really a 3. It doesn't represent just a simple, boring 3. what it represents is 3 million. 3 million. This 6 is not a 6. It is 600,000s. It's in the 100,000 column. So there's 6 of them, 600,000. Now hopefully you notice I'm putting these little plus symbols. I'm adding these things together because adding them together would give me the actual final result. The final, or I guess original number. So 600,000 plus 90,000 plus 2,000 plus, we've got 100 plus 50, 5 tens, plus 4. So expanded form, we're stretching it out, we're pulling it out, making it bigger. We're showing the value of each digit. And then finally, for number 3, word form. Word form. This goes all the way back. Like I said up here, I didn't read this properly. Word form is how we would properly read it. Okay? Word form is how you read the number. How you read the number. Now we are going to write this out in words. All words, no digits, no number symbols. I will not ask you to do this very often, but it is something we need to practice. Okay? So word form, how you read the number. This one in particular would be 3 million, comma, because we're going into another period, just like up here. We didn't have to do it in this section. I guess we used commas there, but here when you read it, you read exactly what that looks like and then say the name of the period. 3 million. For the next section, I'm just going to read those 3 digits together the way I would normally read them if I saw them. 692. Now, it's not really 692. It's 692,000. See, again, I'm reading the period name. 3,692,000. 154. And I don't have to say ones or units or anything after that. That's not necessary. Okay? 3,692,154. Sometimes I'll mess up and you'll hear me say an and in there, but you're really not supposed to. You're really not supposed to throw an and in, because when we start getting to decimals and fractions, the and is for the decimal point. If that doesn't make sense yet, don't worry, we'll get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. If you have any questions, as always, please make sure you write them down, put them in a sticky note, email me something so we can discuss them in class. But for now, you're all set. I'll see you next time.